it's just the whole scheme and scam of it all. It's just a mess. A mess. Hey y'all, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Janae, if you didn't know, and today's video is another true crime episode. So if you're ready, let's go. Alright y'all, so nails, of course. Oh, and they focused like real quick. So yeah, these were my birthday nails. I think they are so cute. Y'all, I tried Chrome for the first time, as y'all can see, and I think I messed up somewhere just a little bit, but they still turned out really good. So I'm pleased with them. I'm happy with them. Yeah. And speaking of my birthday, thank y'all so much. Thank you to everybody who wished me a happy birthday. What else? There's something else that I needed to say to y'all. I know there was something else that I needed to say to y'all, and every single time I sit down, I forget what I was supposed to tell y'all. Like, I have no idea. I need to start writing it down. I do. I need to start putting a little asterisk in my notes or something, because I don't know. I don't know what I was going to say. But if I remember, I'll tell y'all at the end. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and get into today's case. And y'all, this was not even in the top 5 cases that I was supposed to do today. I just found out about this case yesterday. And when I came across it, I actually came across it looking at something else that I was supposed to do for today. But when I came across this case, there was just absolutely no way that I could skip over it, because what the actual hell. This case is kind of unhinged to me. It's like a lot of moving parts. Not even a lot of moving parts. It's just a lot going on. So yeah, let me just go ahead and tell y'all about it. So today's case starts in 2015 when a 25-year-old Vietnamese immigrant named Chi Thai Lien Le, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right, because I looked it up and I listened to the pronunciation, and it said that it was pronounced Chi Thai Lien Le. So yeah, I hope I'm saying it right. But nonetheless, 25-year-old Chi was scrolling on an app called WeChat, which I had never heard of prior to this, but from what I could gather, or from what I could understand, WeChat is pretty much a social media site that is very popular among the Asian community. It's based out of China, like the creator and stuff is from China. Because I didn't know this, but apparently Facebook is banned in China. So this is kind of like their Facebook, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know, but I do know that it's a social media site that's popular amongst different Asian communities, right? So she's just scrolling, doing whatever it is that one does on WeChat, when she stumbles across a man named Curtis Holliday. And now that I'm thinking about it, it really could have been vice versa. Curtis could have been scrolling, doing whatever it is that one does while on WeChat, and he could have come across Chi. But nonetheless, the two of them met via WeChat. And Curtis was a 50-something-year-old business owner. And the particular business that he owned, he pretty much bought and resold items that people had bought and returned to different stores. And this mostly included like household items. So what it puts me in the mindset of is like a Ross type of thing, but just on a smaller scale, you know? Anyways, it wasn't too long after Chi and Curtis met that Chi moved in with Curtis and started working for his business. Now, I really don't know if this was a full-blown relationship right out of the gate, or if it was more or less like a working relationship, but she just needed somewhere to stay. I really don't know. But I'm inclined to believe that they started off as a couple right off the bat and was hunching, because just a year after they met and she moved in and started working for his business, Chi would give birth to their daughter. Now, I didn't see too much about the ins and outs and the dynamic of the couple's relationship like that, but what I did see was that they ended up getting married in 2019. And I also know that she would regularly communicate with at least her auntie. I was about to say her family, but I know that she at least regularly communicated with her auntie Simone Lay. And she would just keep her updated with the family life, you know, talk to her about the kids, talk to her about what was going on in her life and potentially her relationship. I'm really not 100% sure if she shared the ins and outs of her relationship with her auntie, because we're about to get into some things. And I don't know if Chi told Simone about this or not. And as a matter of fact, I'm not even 100% sure when the things that we're about to get into started. And I'm pretty sure y'all know already what we're about to get into, and it's DV. Yeah. So like I said, I don't know when this started. I'm not sure if this happened as soon as Chi moved in and started working for him, as soon as they became a couple, or what. But in my opinion, and based off of the research that I did, it seems as though things were okay between Chi and Curtis until they got married. You know, one of those situations where there was literally no indication of this person's rage, fury. They put on this really good guy, good girl front. But once there was that document in place, once there was that marriage and they were legally binded to one another and they felt like the other person couldn't get out of the relationship, they flipped a switch type thing. That's the vibe that I got. Because the first known reported incident that happened between Curtis and Chi happened on November 28th, 2019. And remember, I told y'all they got married in 2019. So there was nothing that I saw that was reported prior to that. Now, it very well could have been going on. I don't know. But like I said, it just seems like he flipped the switch once they got married. Now, it don't say exactly what happened on November 28th. However, there is another reported incident that happened on December 25th of 2019. So, Chi reported that she was assaulted by Curtis on November 28th, 2019 and on December 25th, 2019. And it, like I said, it does not go into detail about what that assault entailed, what those assaults entailed, but the reports are there. And then in January of 2020, Curtis was arrested on DV charges. And it was alleged in this court document that he would regularly hit Chi. He would restrict her access to food. And I really don't know what that looks like. If he would lock up the food, if he would just like kind of torture her and just make her watch them eat or watch him eat, or I don't know what the restriction of food looked like. But nonetheless, he would restrict her access to food, and he would also lock her in rooms and hold her against her will. And on top of all of this, he would verbally abuse Chi as well. He would belittle her, he would threaten to kill her, and he would often tell her that if he were to kill her, nobody would care or notice that she was gone. And so it sounds like she was going through a lot. And by this time in 2019, their daughter would have been 3 years old. And there was never any reports of abuse towards the daughter. But I can only imagine that there would be a level of trauma if she was a witness to her mother's physical and verbal abuse. So I can really only hope that she wasn't there. But that's rarely ever the case. Like, the kids usually be knowing. But nonetheless, after being locked up for DV, Curtis was released on bond. And he was also served a no contact order for Chi. The fact that he was released made Chi uncomfortable, and she even went to the police and the court system and told them that she feared for her life, because even though they issued him with a no contact order, at the end of the day, it's really just a piece of paper, and she wasn't comfortable with him being released. But I guess the courts just felt like a no contact order was good enough. But is it ever really? No. The answer is no. So it's late April 2020 now, and Chi's aunt Simone, who I told y'all she was regularly in contact with, becomes worried because she cannot get in contact with her niece. And again, like I said, Chi talked to Simone on a regular basis. So this was completely out of character for her. It was not like her to not be in communication with Simone. So Simone called the police. She said, hey, listen, I need y'all to go do a welfare check on my niece because I haven't heard from her. I heard that it was in a couple of days, or a couple of weeks. I'm not really sure. But whether it was a couple of days or a couple of weeks, Simone got on that phone and she called the police and she said, go check on my niece because I ain't heard from her. So officers go out to the house that Chi shared with Curtis. And when they get there, they see a woman and they see a child. And this woman is caring for said child. However, this woman is not Chi. This woman is actually Curtis's ex-wife. And I don't really know how the conversation went or what happened or the exchange between the officers and this lady. and why they left without putting eyes on Chi. But that's exactly what happened. Whatever exchange this lady had with the officers, they felt like it was sufficient enough for them to leave without actually putting eyes on Chi. Or maybe she told them she was Chi. Hell, I don't know. But they did not put eyes on Chi and they left. So now May of 2020 rolls around and Chi is missing, having last been seen on April 3rd, and Curtis is out on bond for DV. And I feel like it's all very obvious at this point what has potentially taken place. However, an investigation, a proper investigation, must take place. So investigators are investigating the disappearance of Chi and doing their due diligence. And on May 5th of 2020, Curtis Holliday is arrested. But it's not for what you think that he would be arrested for. No, he was actually arrested on charges of violating a bond on a protective order and committing continuous violence against a family member. So what that sounds like to me is that they suspected him of Chi's disappearance, but they didn't have enough to arrest him on said suspicion. And so they found evidence of him still contacting Chi and arrested him on violating the conditions of his bond, which would be the protective order. And they arrested him on those charges until they could definitively prove that he had something to do with her disappearance. And find something to connect him to her disappearance, they would. Because later on in May, after they had arrested him and questioned him about Chi's disappearance, the detectives ended up performing a search on Curtis's business. And when they searched his business, they found a commercial freezer that was out of place. It was out of place. It didn't belong there. And once they opened this freezer, they found a body wrapped in plastic, and it was described to be frozen with frost on the skin. And as you have probably already guessed, that body was later identified as that of Chi Thai Lien Le. And after her body had defrosted and an autopsy was done, the medical examiner ruled her death as a homicide. And on July 14th, 2020, Curtis Holliday was formally arrested and charged with the murder of Chi. And oh my God, y'all, I just realized that he was arrested and charged with Chi's murder on the exact date and year of my mother's passing. Nonetheless, he was arrested and charged on that date, and this is great. This is amazing, right? He's being charged with Chi's murder, and now he's about to spend the rest of his natural life in prison. Yay! Kudos, right? But not exactly. Because roughly 15 months after his arrest, Curtis Holliday was released on a $300,000 bond. And he was granted this release by going through a bail bonds company called A. Able Bail Bonds. So yeah, they basically put up the money for him to be released on bond. And released he was until his trial. And the trial was scheduled for June of this year. However, right before jury selection, Curtis decided to change his plea from not guilty to guilty because he was offered a plea deal. And that plea deal was that he would plead guilty in exchange for a 10-year sentence. However, his defense attorney said, yeah, you know what? My client is pleading guilty because he wants this 10-year sentence. But he pleading guilty with an asterisk because he not really guilty. Because what we really think happened is that Chi exited this world voluntarily, and Curtis just happened to go over to the marital home that they had lived in, and he found Chi, and he panicked. And once his panic set in, it told him to put her in a freezer and not call the police. Because, you know, he did have this no contact order, so he shouldn't have been at the house. So he panicked. He freaked out and he put her in the freezer, you know. So he's not really guilty. She did it to herself, but we're going to take the 10-year sentence anyway. Right? That's what his defense attorney said. He said that they had all indications that it was self-inflicted and that he just made the wrong choice when he found her. Okay. But if you ask me, my opinion, they took that guilty plea because there was just too much evidence against Curtis. There was the fact that they had video evidence of him buying this commercial freezer. They had proof of him constantly contacting Chi despite the no contact order. There was no signs on Chi's body of self-deletion. And there was a Facebook post that she had written, or a DM that she had written to someone prior to her death. And this is what that post or DM read. My name is Chitai Lien Le. My birthday is the 11th of October, 1990, or November 10th, 1990. I'm not sure which way they write it. But anyhow, my husband is Curtis Holliday. My daughter is blank Holliday. I live in Houston, Texas, 77041. If suddenly nobody can find me or find me dead, please check my husband. He many times tell me that he will murder me, especially we are on the way to get divorced. So like I told y'all, she already felt like her life was in danger, and she felt the need to put it in writing on a platform in which the police will be able to access, or send it to somebody so that they could get it to the police in the event of her untimely death. And so I feel like all of this combined is what caused Curtis to plead guilty. So like I said, he pleads guilty in June of 2024, and he's formally sentenced in July of 2024, and he was sentenced to 10 years with 2 years time served. So essentially he would have to serve only 8 years in prison for the murder of Chi Le. And I already know what you're thinking. Like, wait, didn't he get released on bond in 2021? So where is this 2 year time served coming from? Well, remember how I told y'all he had got bonded out through the bail bonds company, A. Abel Bail Bonds, right? Well, in June of 2022, A. Abel Bail Bonds was raided by the FBI in connection with a wire fraud scheme. So basically, the co-signers would help people falsify documents, fill out the paperwork in a certain type of way so that their bail could be approved in exchange for a small little fee. So they was basically getting paid to falsify documents so that these criminals could get out of jail, allegedly.
Serving time for stuffing his wife's body into a freezer is one of the defendants charged in the FBI's bail bond wire fraud scheme. Fox 26's Randy Wallace joining us live from Southwest Houston. Randy.
Convicted murderer Curtis Holliday's case with A. Abel Bonds illustrates what was allegedly going on. According to investigators, co-signers were getting paid to lie.
And once A.A. Bail Bonds was raided, the bond was obviously revoked, and so he had to be rearrested because your bond is not legit. He had to be rearrested on her murder, so he spent from 2022 to 2024 in jail, and that's where the 2 years time served comes from. And the thing that trips me out about this whole thing is that he took a plea deal for 10 years for murder, but if he's convicted in this wire fraud scheme, he could get more time for that than he did for the murder. That just blows my mind, because you get more time for stealing money or, you know, lying basically than for murder. Don't make no sense to me. But anyways, sadly, I don't know what ended up happening to their daughter. I don't know where she ended up. I can only hope that she's being raised and loved the proper way, and hopefully by family. She'll be 16 years old by the time Curtis gets out of jail, if he don't have to do any additional time for the wire fraud scheme. And I really wonder if he's gonna try to contact her, or if she is gonna know the ins and outs of what happened to her birth mom and birth dad. Like, I'm curious. I wonder. I would hope that he don't try to contact her, because he's already messed this baby's life up enough. But yeah, I told y'all this was a crazy one. Like, the fact that you go to jail for murder, you get out on a bond, and then you got to get rearrested because your bond is false. Like it's just the whole scheme and scam of it all. It's just a mess. But yeah, y'all, that is all I have for today's case. Thank you all so very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Whatever, I do what I want. Hey y'all, welcome. What is that? What was that? When a 25 when a 25-year-old Vietnamese immigrant named Chi Thai Lien Le met okay, anyway, not long after Chi and Charles, his name's not Charles, his name is Curtis. So she's just scrolling, doing whatever it is that one does on WeChat, when she comes across a man named Charles. No, not Charles. That was last week. Named Curtis. What is his name? Oh my god. And I should know this. His last name is fucking Holliday. Why you play so much? And the first documented thing that the first documented what? But and then in January of 2020, I keep wanting to call this man Charles. No. I was finding my mama dead while he was being arrested. That is crazy. Anyway, nonetheless, because I'm about to cry. Don't do that.